step forward.
What's up, y'all? It's another episode of the Then and Now podcast. I have the usuals with me, the usual goats, the co-host. I'm your host, Charlie Wilson. I have my other co-host next to me, Mr. Ethan, the King of the Comics Murphy, and Mr. Lelouch, Otis East V. To my
that's so funny because on my screen it's the opposite. Like I'm on this side for you. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna call it out. I was like, we both saw it. We both saw it happening, but we didn't have to do that. Plus, Charlie can't see because he doesn't have the glasses on. But Otis,
I can see.
I mean, you guys know I'm compulsive. Like anytime I hear something that I have to say, I was like, "Yep, say it like that."
You do, and we're off. Seconds. That was seconds.
Jesus. Today, guys, we're gonna take a lot of our time
talking
about. Oh, my boy Craig here. My boy Craig. Hey, I rock with Craig. Craig is he's the number one numero uno when it comes to fans, man. We appreciate Craig.
He's a good dude.
Today we're going to pretty much we're just shitting on the Cowboy Bebop live action. I'm just keep it a buck. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. I couldn't finish the show. I made it to 2 episodes and it was back to me. They somehow found the energy to go through the whole series. I couldn't do it myself. I'll let you guys start, so it's not just me.
No. But before we take apart this series, let's talk about the anime. Let's talk about the anime a little bit.
Let's have a little bit of joy. Let's ease into the right.
So for me, as you guys know, I released the video essay or the series itself and my thoughts on it. I binge watched it, I think, a couple of days before the actual live action show dropped. For me, like I talked about in the essay, there are a couple of things that made that show very special to me. Obviously, the biggest thing, the most important thing that I won't just compare it to live action off of it, but the biggest thing to me was each episode was its standing alone adventure. It felt like each episode was like a short film in a sense, where they were tonally different for a lot of the time. Some episodes were kind of similar. It may be lighthearted tones or dark tones, but each episode was its own adventure. And then on top of that, you have the music that, again, like I said in the video essay, permeates throughout the entire thing. That's just like jazz infused in the beat. I'll go on all day. But what do you got? What about the animated series made it special for you guys? Because you guys were kind of older when it dropped, when it originally dropped.
First time.
We'll start with Ethan.
Oh, me? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to do this real quick. So basically what it is for me, and I'll put this up here so people know. There we go. So basically for me, what made the Cowboy Bebop anime work, and I'm a fan of it. I don't love it to pieces, but I'm definitely a fan of it. But made it work is part of, like you said, it felt like each episode in of itself was a self-contained story that was well told and fleshed out. They felt real. They felt like they actually had characters that knew what they were doing. For the most part, it felt like the world building was tacit enough. That's how I perceived each episode. There are some episodes that, of course, are strung together that make more of a ongoing story. But for the most part, they're individual episodes, and there's about the setup is the same as far as here's our bounty. We think one thing, it turns out our bounty's got something else going on in our life, and you kind of have compassion for that. And all those elements made each adventure interesting, especially in a time when anime were doing a lot more longer storytelling. This was one you could kind of come in each week and just watch one at a time and be fine.
Yeah, I guess I got to be my usual self because I honestly think Cowboy Bebop is extremely overrated as an anime. Like, I think there are good things about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the music is great. Like, I will never say anything about the soundtrack. Voice acting is really good at moments. Like, when we're talking about the dub, I can't even get through the sub. It just doesn't sound right. Yeah, I need that Spike Spiegel voice.
Yeah.
I can't chill, Craig. I gotta do it, bro. I gotta do it.
Are you gonna do it, Otis? Are you gonna do it, Charlie? You can do it, Charlie. You gonna do it?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. You already know what's up. He's made this just for you.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
I'll take that. But I'm gonna still finish what I'm saying. The voice acting is solid. And the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like, and they do a semi decent job of like making the tone of the episodes match with the soundtrack. Like, it feels like sometimes like when the writer had to be writing to the soundtrack on some of those scenes. Like, it just makes sense. Right. Beyond that, it's kind of stupid. Like, why did we need an episode where they were dying from eating old lobster? Like, I don't get the purpose of that. Like, I don't understand why they spent so much time on some of these side characters. I get like it's supposed to be an anthology where like every story's like, you know, condensed in its own episode, but like, why? Like, why do that and simultaneously have an ongoing story where you have to try to understand what's going on with Spike history? Like, having those two things going at the same time never really worked for me. Like, I would have preferred if they would have did one then the other. Like, you know, do all your, you know, your random missions at the beginning and then give me episode of like, you know, the canon story. But having them mixed, it just kept taking me out of like the immersion of it. It was like, okay, like, oh yeah, this is a real episode where, you know, you're finding out Vicious just selling red eye on the side from the syndicate. And then your next episode, you know, like, oh, you got me chasing this dog around the town. Like, why are we having these things back to back? I don't get it. It's not. It doesn't work for me.
No, I feel you. I definitely understand what you're saying. I mean, now you did scare off Charlie. He's gonna go cry for a while. but I feel you. I'm in that same camp. That I like this show. I appreciate it for what it is, but I don't love it. I do think it's one of those things that's like celebrated to the nth degree. I'm like, it's cool. I definitely like it, but it's not the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Like, Spike is like one of the archetypes for the like my favorite anime characters.
Yes,
period. Like,
and he created it. That's he's kind of the OG for that in a way. That's that noir awesome kind of character. Yeah.
Which is why it frustrated me when they kept switching off of his main storyline to do random shit. Like, I don't care at this point. Like, the way that you worded it, I don't care about the other stuff that's going on if it's taking me away from the main storyline that I actually want to know.
So I think so. Let's do this then. Let's hypothesize it. Hypothesize. Is that a word? I mean, words are hard. I'm a writer. If we get hypothetical and say that they had done it where it mainly focused just on Spike Spiegel's story and maybe even Jet, throw in Jet's story, the two of them as running buddies, dealing with what they were doing with as bounty hunters, but it pertained mainly to Spike's story. Do you think that would have been a better series, even if they had been fewer episodes? If they had focused just on that, do they be better series?
I think that series easily could have been a 12 episodes show, and it would have been phenomenal, like phenomenal. But it didn't, so it's not.
What do you think, Def, Charlie?
For me, I really enjoyed Faye's story and her whole backstory, like that whole arc when you go through her and her love interest in the beginning. I can't remember the dude's name, but the guy that was like tricking her and all the dead or whatever. Right. That whole backstory was great to me.
No. She means when Faye first woke
like her
up.
Original story
from the
you're talking about the con man.
Con man.
Yeah.
That was kind of I'm not gonna say it's heartfelt. It was a little funny, but I enjoyed her back. I enjoyed learning about the backstory in each one of the crew. The only one that was kind of forgettable to me was kind of Edward. It was more so. It was sad. He's not an orphan, but was in an orphanage, I guess, whatever. But it wasn't anything crazy.
Right.
Ed's the only one that was kind of like, it was alright. But
I mean, yeah, it was there as comic
between
relief,
Spike, Jet, and Faye, like their backstories combined and how they got to the people they were then, where it was interesting to me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to take off Edward's backstory, I get that, but I really wanted to. I enjoy learning about Faye's backstory and how she got to where she was and didn't have her memories and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, and obviously we got to address this real quick. So as Craig said, that's interesting. So I think obviously the idea is that there is it's separate adventures. It's meant to be separate adventures that make one thing. I like that idea. It's interesting to kind of double down on the idea of seeing these characters dealing with different things, different scenarios.
But
that could be fun.
That's a good comparison, Craig, talking about saying the Straw Hats. Because like the reason why the Straw Hats work to me is because when you are in that person's story, you finish that person's story. Like, you know, you're on Whole Cake Island, you get all of Sanji's backstory. You're on, I can't remember all the islands, but when you meet Usopp for the first time, you're getting all of Usopp's story. When you meet Nami, you get half of Nami's story. It splits over into Sanji's story, and then you come back to Nami. Like, it makes sense because it's cohesive. When you give me, I'll give you this little sprinkle of Faye's story, then we're gonna jump to them chasing somebody that's turning everybody into monkeys. Then we're going to give you this piece of Jet's backstory. Then we're going to give you this piece of Spike's backstory. Then we're going to give you a piece of Ed's backstory. And it just comes at you randomly. It's hard to consume that information in a way that like makes you want to sit there and continue doing that, if that makes any sense.
It's
like,
hard to be
at least
immersed.
for me.
But what's funny about that is you're not wrong. However, that's almost the point too. It's meant to be like jazz. It's meant to be where it's because jazz is like the real way that jazz players play. The music is they're kind of riffing with each other to make an overall collage together. I'm breaking it down horribly because I'm not a musician, but I know that's what that Shinichiro, the creator and writer, wanted to do something similar to that. Whereas you're getting fragments of different parts of different stories with different characters, and they're all meant to come together in a weird tapestry that makes sense overall. But you're not wrong because it can be disjointed and feel jarring. I get that. I feel that entirely. I think it's meant to be that you're kind of like, it's world building, but in a way that is less palatable than other stories. It's not as streamlined as, like you said, with the Straw Hats or One Piece, where you're fully engaged on one long narrative in different parts. It's like you're going to get one fragment here, another fragment here, another fragment here, and the whole meal will come together down the road in one way, or it may not. It's up to you. But I think the writer is trying to give you enough to keep you satisfied. And for some people, for most people, for a lot of people, clearly it works. But I understand it doesn't work for you. I get that.
Yeah.
I do.
And like I'm me going through this. This is how I was feeling about it when I was watching through it initially, because before it was coming out week to week to week. So like I'll wait a week for to get this Faye story, and then next week I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into more about Faye. Nope. This week we're in a casino, and where everybody's chasing down the same guy in the casino. Then the next week, we get like, I don't know. It's just having it broken up like that. It didn't retain my attention most of the time. Like I would just pretty much like, now that it's all out in one, like you can sit and watch it in one chunk. It's more cohesive to me, just because you're watching it back to back. But that time in between it hurt it to me. It hurt the series really badly.
See, for me, it was a pro. I understand it if you're seeing it week to week, because I'd be honest, like with like the new Hawkeye show, jump to like a different character each week when we expect to finish this one thing. I get that, but again, like it being for me watching it all in one sitting, it was because for me, I feel like people, when you're learning about a person, you don't necessarily learn everything about that one person in that one moment. You learn about that person as things happen that relate to something in the past. Right. So like when they get to a point to where I'm trying to think of an example where Spike sees Julia, they're like, there's some woman like in the beginning in the first episode when he's chasing dude that's selling the red eye or whatever, and he's with old girl. Shawty reminds him of Julia in a way. So you kind of learn a little bit, like you learn about each character as things happen in that universe that make them trigger about like something in memory, or they reminisce about something. Then you get that little part of them. You learn more about them as time goes on, versus like with the Straw Hat stuff where like you learn everything there is to know about Usopp in that up until that point on that island, and then he develops from there, which is cool. But I felt but that shows like 1,000 episodes, so you have time to like
literally. It's not like anything. It's not like 1,000. It's literally 1,000 episodes.
So you have so much time to develop these characters from that point. But this one is a 26 episode anime. Spreading that character development out around those 26 episodes, so you don't burn out too early on, to me was a good way to go about it, to me personally. Yeah. Because again, all those stories you could have told really quick in one episode, honestly. Right. But you would have burnt out really early, and it's like, where do we kind of build from here? We have the stories, but it's not really like
been better as a 12 episode anime.
So I think one thing too, and this is something Charlie is saying, is that way you spread it out. This was meant to be a different kind of anime. This was not meant to be like One Piece or Dragon Ball Z or any longer narratives. It was meant to be almost bite sized. That was his intention. Also, it's meant to be, his influences were definitely Blade Runner and noir, kind of crime noir stories, which is why he also has westerns and things like that in there. But when you have it where you're doing noir detective stories, they definitely are sparse on backstory and details. They have a little few things here and there, but they deliberately don't have a whole bunch of robust fleshed out things. It's meant to be, take what you can get and keep going. And so it's a different approach to it. And I think one thing that was really interesting at the time when it came out in 98, it was kind of seen as the cool anime. It wasn't like other animes that had, the goofy comedic breaks where characters were getting bug-eyed and doing something silly or dancing around or having crying or nose coming out their blood coming out their nose. It was meant to be, this is the cooler anime. This has cool music. This has more adult characters doing seemingly more adult things. That's how it was perceived. I remember specifically hearing that back in the day. So
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But no, this isn't necessarily the time skip versus no time skip. This is just more so how
soon?
Not necessarily how soon either. It's just like how it's packaged.
Right.
Like one is like you get one package, then you get the next package. It was like, nope, you get a little. Cowboy Bebop is like, you got a little bit of this package, then you get a little bit of that, then you got a little bit of that, and then we'll go back to that. Like, yeah.
My best.
I see what, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I see what Craig is saying though, as far as the time skip versus no time skip, because this is when you do things like, for example, like One Piece or Dragon Ball Z, when it's really drawn out, that's clearly not skipping time. But by having the story kind of flashback to non-flashback, that version of storytelling is the idea of, it's more akin to time skipping where you're skipping around back and forth in time. So I see what he's getting at.
I was going to say, in my mind, the synonym, the way I look at it, equated to my mind, coming fresh out of Thanksgiving, it's like you have all these different foods and sides from Thanksgiving, but you're not going to go eat all the macaroni and cheese at once. You're going to get a little bit of mac and cheese, a little bit of yams, dressing, and then over time, as you're getting all the parts together, you're eating everything, but you're not going to go eat a whole thing of mac and cheese.
I am literally I will get a big slice of turkey. I'll get a big ass plop of dressing. I don't like mac and cheese. That's gross. I won't do that.
What? Wait, roll it.
Yeah, we haven't gone over this. We haven't gone over this.
No, we have not. That's blasphemous hell, boy.
Coming to see you, Otis.
It doesn't hit the same way a second time.
That is wow.
You gotta.
I've never
like it's like
the
F-bomb in a PG-13 movie. You gotta use it once for it to hit. You know what I'm saying? But
that is wow. I've been friends with you for almost 2 years, and I thought you were human. I could have sworn you were human.
I hate mac and cheese.
No, what the hell? You don't like
this is forget everything else. This is the episode now. This is the episode.
Who hurt you?
Fear Factor, because it was I think it was around Thanksgiving. But anyway, I had some mac and cheese that I was supposed to eat. It was in front of me. At the same time, I was watching Fear Factor on TV.
Right.
There was maggots.
That's right.
And since then I can never put mac and cheese in my mouth.
You did tell me that a long time ago. That's right. My bad. Yeah,
There's a reason
tell me
I never eat food when I'm watching a horror movie.
Yeah, he did tell me that.
It wasn't by choice. It was on, and I was hungry.
Yeah, I remember that now. That makes sense. Okay, fair enough. I forgot you mentioned that. I forgot.
Yeah, poor soul.
But you just said though the metaphor that you just made. That's a metaphor analogy. I guess that's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
The metaphor you just made though, Charlie, is perfect. It's kind of like that is a way to see it as far as nibbling every little bit here and there to get your meal. And Otis saying that he prefers to have it all in one part at a time. That makes sense too. It's subjective.
So I don't have to eat again. Like I want to next day. It's leftovers now.
Right.
I gotta make it last. I gotta reminisce on the food the next day.
Right on. But now that
I'm never gonna let that go. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
We talked about this before.
You and I did. I don't know if Deb was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
You did tell me this.
I would have been asked about that for like 2 years. I've known you now.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's been longer than 2 years. It's definitely longer than 2 years. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
We're on 2K21 right now. We started 2K18
right now.
Oh yeah, we're on 22. Right. Shit, 22, and we started playing the 2K18. So.
Damn, I just got out of high school then. That's crazy. Never mind. I'm getting old now. Anyway, go ahead.
Welcome to my world. Welcome to now. You're part of the then. You're part of the then. So the show's gonna be called Then and Then. But now that we've addressed
then.
It's just then with the sad crying face. But now that we've addressed one atrocity with macaroni and cheese, we'll have to get to the next atrocity. See what I did there? See the segue? Cowboy Bebop live action. So if you haven't seen this, congratulations. Well done. If you have, we apologize. This
All right,
who wants to start?
Can we get some positives?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and get the pros out of the way. Let's go and get the pros
Jet
out
Black.
of the way.
Jet Black.
That's it.
No, I got more than one. I got more than one. I got more than one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your pro that you're starting off with.
It was literally just Jet Black. That's it.
All right, what about Jet Black? Like, give him something.
Right.
Like, okay,
you go first, Otis. You can go first. Then.
Go ahead. Okay.
Charlie, you doing more? Okay.
So for me, obviously, when we were in WN, obviously we interviewed Bo Billingsley, the guy that voiced Jet Black, as well as a slew of other anime characters. And he's one of the people, like him and Steve Blum, I feel like made the dynamic between Jet and Spike really like mesh and work really well. And this actor, thanks, Craig. I powered through that first episode and got through the second, and after that, I was like,
I watched that whole fucking show, so I'm gonna talk about it.
I did.
Just for this show,
I did.
Not out of enjoyment. So
it was obligation.
I'm glad y'all took one for the team because I couldn't do it.
We did. You always won. You always, yeah. But go ahead.
But yeah, that the actor that played Jet Black, he sounded very similar to Bo and like the way his mannerisms and the way he was speaking. So it was almost like damn near an exact copy, except like the Jet in the show was kind of Caucasian, but I couldn't tell if he was like mixed or light skinned or.
He said kind of Caucasian.
I mean, you could. I don't know, man.
He was a white dude. He was a white dude. An old white man.
Yeah, it's just as big because I know the actor black guy.
Right. Because he didn't have any white mannerisms. Like that was a black dude.
I was like,
I feel like I'm in Uncle Ruckus rich as she was. There we go.
Pretty much.
All right.
But that's pretty much it. Was just that character. The thing about this show that was really bad to me was like they changed.
No, wait, not yet. Okay, we gotta finish the positives because we'll never leave the negatives. The rest of the show is just that. So we gotta finish the positives up. Otis, you go next.
Go ahead.
I actually liked how they chained the missions together in the order that they did. It built up into one cohesive story. Well, cohesive is a strong word.
Yeah,
it built up into one consistent, semi-concise story.
A story. It built up to a story.
It was a story. As opposed to the original, which is not necessarily a story.
There's no connective tissue.
Really. Yeah. So that is definitely a positive for me. Jet was amazing. Jet was amazing.
Double that on Jet.
Considering that, like because the first time I've ever seen him as an actor was Bushmaster in Luke Cage, and that Bushmaster was a Rastafari like
over the top
guy.
Yeah.
And to see him do that in this, like I have all the respect for the man because that's some range right there.
There's range. I agree. Yeah.
I think
it's like graphic straws.
I can see. He said, Chris, he enjoyed the Death Note live action.
So you're talking about the original, like the Japanese one, right? Not the Lakeith Stanfield. Please God, tell me not talking about the one.
That's what he said. He said the live action.
No, but there's more. There's multiple live action.
There's Japanese live action.
There's several.
Which is actually pretty good.
Damn.
There's several.
Then there's the Netflix one, and that one's we don't.
I'm not sure which one Craig means. He said. Now he did also mention he hasn't seen Avatar live action, which is good.
Right.
I'm literally begging you, Craig, on my soul, do not watch that live action.
Bryson Tiller. Don't.
I feel like the Death Note live action was like it crossed into the so bad it's funny to watch territory.
No. It's so bad.
It's so bad it's funny to me. For me, it's like in that level. Like I watch it because I love to laugh at how bad it is versus it's so bad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There are some parts that are so outlandish. It's like, okay, this is just dumb funny. Okay, I'll give you that. But
like when they made Ella Murder,
rather rewatch that 90s Mario movie than that
I would too.
That Death Note.
They're the same tier for me. Like this bad is funny to watch.
I don't know. I think what it is though is that Death Note has source material that is legit Really legit. Death Note has really great material. so we gotta have a full blown loose cannons of Otis versus Craig on Death Note.
We'll set that up.
We gotta set that up. But
no, I'm not down for that. That means I gotta rewatch that fucking movie.
No, you don't. You remember it well enough.
No,
it's burned. Oh, you don't.
I tried to forget everything. Like, as soon as I saw Keith Stanfield like
sitting
in an anime pose,
it's like, sitting like L. Here's the thing: you before you saw the movie, you knew that was coming. So it's like
I did, but I didn't think it would be like as bad as it was. It's like the first thing I saw from that trailer was the William Dafoe. Willem Dafoe as Ryukin,
which actually looked good. Which actually, I was like, that's the equivalent of Jet Black. Like, that's pretty much spot on voice casting.
About William Dafoe is probably an actual demon in real life.
Probably
that man has the voice of Satan.
Yeah, I can see that happening. But so we'll get into we'll have a whole episode about. I guess this may be part of it too, as far as just like the problem with adaptations from anime to live action. But what I'll say real quick, my positives, real quick. I'm saying real quick. My positives, of course, are Jet Black. I also did like the idea that Faye had a more fleshed out character. I thought, bizarrely enough, in this live action, and I thought it was kind of cool that they actually gave her a love interest. I mean, I know some folks hated that, but it's like Faye had no kind of love interest whatsoever. She almost seemed asexual in the anime, and they explored the idea of her actually having someone she was interested in because that's
not a
like
plot twist. They just probably forgot to do that when they were writing it.
They just didn't.
Was she asexual? I mean, because she had like in her original plotline had the one love interest, and then she
didn't do anything with him though.
Obviously, and I would never call Misa a simp. Well, I mean, no, I said that. I would never call Misa helpless. She's a simp.
No,
like, that's clear. She's a simp. But helpless, nah. Light knew what he had to do to keep her in check. He was like, "Oh no, this is gonna kill me."
Yeah, she was. Like, we're getting into. There's so much there. Like we had to do a whole episode on Death Note. Death Note's got a lot of stuff to talk about. But I liked getting back to Faye. I thought Faye was fleshed out. I like Faye overall. I thought she was a fun source of energy at times. I thought now this is gonna be real controversial. I thought it was interesting that they tried to give Julia a bit more to do, and they kind of tried to put a twist on it. Spoiler, who cares? Don't watch this shit. But at the end, they tried to twist it up. So, Charlie, you know how Julia is in the show, the anime, right?
Right. This is why I stopped, because she was horrible in that first episode.
Yeah, she's nobody, right? But they changed it up at the end where she becomes a big bad. She overthrows the syndicate, kind of, or she becomes the syndicate. She kills Vicious. And she there's a part, I think
she imprisoned Vicious. I don't think she killed him.
But yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. She imprisons Vicious. And there's a scene in the anime where, like, halfway through, I forgot the name of the episode, but it was a scene halfway through the series where Vicious and Spike fight each other in a church.
Right.
And then Vicious, like, grabs Spike by the throat, throws him out, and at this big, huge stained glass window. And as Spike is falling out of it, he throws a grenade back at Vicious. They changed it now so that Julia shoots Spike out of that window, and he's falling backwards, and it's pretty much after that it's very similar. Now that's a weird, huge change, but at least it's something different. And I hope that what they're going to do is for the second season they'll say fuck all the other stuff from season 1 and from the anime. We're forging ahead with new content altogether, which they should have done from the beginning. They should have just said, let's kind of stay in the world, but make it our own original story.
They don't matter.
None of them do. That's the thing. None of the episodes really matter. There's so many episodes that don't matter at all to anything. And the episodic nature of the anime doesn't work for a live action ongoing series, a binge-worthy series. They should have, like you said, kept it just streamlined in some way, pretty much even kind of favor the Edgar Wright style of storytelling where we can have a couple of genres that meet together and do it that way, as opposed to what they end up with. Now, obviously, I've dovetailed accidentally into the negatives, so we might as well double down on that. Charlie, you couldn't make it past an hour plus of the show. You want to give us some?
Shit on it now? It's time?
Yes. I'll go ahead and put it up here.
Yes, thank God. This shit is trash.
Wait, before we do it, I got one more positive.
Oh my God.
One more. I actually did kind of prefer the way that they connected some of those episodes together in the live action, like, having the clown that came to attack Spike be like, an assassin sent by Vicious. There was a build up there was an actual build up within the series towards a climax, and that's something that I wish that we would have gotten in the original anime.
I completely agree. Even though the way he had him in makeup and everything kind of crazy, I do agree that the actual natural inclination towards things by introducing the character, the bad guy of Vicious, which was terrible, but the concept, having it as a narrative, did work better. It's similar to how they did it with Invincible, the anime or the cartoon series compared to the comic book, where they made it years later, and the creator was like, "How about we change a few things based on what I know now? I can make it a few adjustments." So I agree with that too. I hated the way they represented Matt Pierrot, but I did like the idea of him being a specifically hired assassin for Spike. That made sense.
Good time.
So, all right, but all right, Charlie, it's your turn to.
Oh yeah. So literally, they made this thing a buddy cop show. Like they tried to be funny, but it wasn't funny. And then they tried to like recreate certain things. The girl that got to play Ed, that's enough. You'll just see her in the trailer.
Was it a girl or is it a guy? I really wasn't sure.
So when I was looking up the character, when I was doing research for the video essay, apparently the creator wanted to make Ed non-binary, where he didn't really have a gender, which is why they called him Ed, but it's a girl. So it was supposed to be like a non-binary character.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But
that makes sense.
Pretty sure I think they had a girl play the character in the live action show. I think I could be wrong though. But
I mean that it's possible. That's only like 10 seconds out of a whole myriad of problems. But yeah,
the buddy cop shit, trying to be funny. When you try so hard to be funny, like the biggest example was the escape pods shit. When the guy with the teddy bear, he has a teddy bear head on, and he's trying to tell them something, and they can't understand what he's saying. And they go through this whole fight and they kill him. And they were like, "Oh, he was saying escape pod." And they do this fake ass forceful laugh for like so long. It's like a 30-second fake laugh they do with each other.
They do that a lot. They do that forced laugh for a long time. It's like
honestly, after a while, I started laughing at that because it was just so cringy that like it did make me giggle.
It's like this is because they do it a lot. They have, but that's a runner. They do that together a lot.
Yes,
it's like a 70s sitcom, like you have the fake audience applause. Like I feel like we hear fake audience applause in the background,
right? And then it freeze frames, and they're held in position, and then the credits start to roll like Miller Boy Yet and everything. Yeah,
that's literally what I think about when I hear that.
Like Starsky and Hutch on crack.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you're right. Well, so that's a good point that you made there. They were trying to do the buddy cop with Spike and Jet, but I don't know if they did enough screen tests between John Cho and Mustafa, because it's like, yo, they don't really have that kind of chemistry together.
Too late, Mike.
So, Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. Mike, you're a great man. You're a very handsome, tall man, but you're not sober. You're
super
just not
ginger.
sober.
Yeah. So can we talk about the biggest failure within this?
We all know what it is. We all know what it is. But before you say exactly what you're thinking, I'm going to write it down, and then let's see if it actually is that. Or actually, you know what? We'll say it together at the exact same time on 3. Ready? The single biggest problem on 3. All right. 1,
2, 3. Vicious.
Vicious. Right. Come on, man.
The strong ass chin. I hate it so much.
Why is he British? Why
are we seeing so much of him? That's because he had all kinds of like rage boy, emo boy problems, but also he gets lessened to nothing. But we see him constantly. You see him so much, and he has so much like elitist entitled problems.
He looks like a bootleg Henry Cavill. I hate him so much.
That's being generous. That's being generous. What up, Mike? That's being generous as hell.
He's like the first Bond villain ever, but like
yes, but a cliche version of that.
Yes,
he is. I agree. He's a cliche, like he's like Dr. Evil or something from the Austin Powers series.
I think Dr. Evil is a better villain.
He's a better character overall. I agree. He's funnier and everything else because also he's self-aware. That's the problem. Again, this show doesn't understand the fact that they were so far off the path of
Fat Bastard is a better written character than Vicious.
Probably is a better written character.
I mean, but the bar is so low. The bar is like that's like saying this cheeseburger I got from McDonald's is better than this shoe over here in my closet. It's like, yeah, you can eat that cheeseburger. So fair enough. You're not wrong.
with the right seasons, you can eat the shoe. I guess. I mean,
with enough soy sauce and Tabasco.
Like if it's leather, it came from a cow too. I guess you know.
Fair.
I
That's
knew-
the logic I hadn't thought of. Okay.
I knew he was gonna be really bad off rip. First, I'm gonna ignore all the parts he's talked, but in that first episode when he's executing that guy and he draws his sword from his sheath and he do like a flash cut and then the guy's just dead and the sword's out. I'm like, oh, they can even show this dude's like pretending to slash somebody. Like he can't pretend to cut somebody with a katana. Oh, this is gonna be terrible. It's gonna be terrible.
Fair. That's not false. It's just that there's so much else that's wrong with it too.
Yeah,
that's
like
that's just my initial me knowing it's gonna be bad off a rip. Just seeing that, I was like, this is gonna be good.
Sure. Fair. Facts. All facts. The first, here's the problem I had with it. It was like they clearly went to their wardrobe and makeup department and said, hey, we're out of time. Do you have anything resembling a wig left to put on this guy's head? And they said no. And then someone just grabbed some drapes and cut into it and put it on his. And it's like, that's what the fuck are you? It
clearly broke the bottom off the mop and just said,
right.
It's always wet. Why is
Can you at least wash the mop? No, we can't wash it. We don't have time for that. Okay.
Wash it.
I fully expected him to do the Virgil shit from the Devil May Cry where he like slicks it back and it just stays there.
He might as well have.
I was ready for it because it was wet all the time.
Jesus,
like,
it was so bad. There's nothing.
God.
There's literally nothing right about Vicious, and the problem with that is that a big driving force of the anime is Spike getting to Vicious. It's what set Spike into the path that he has. But if we the audience aren't taking that character seriously at all, there's no like stakes. There's no impetus. Philosopher, what is Craig on? I like Craig.
Craig is over today.
Craig is on the good shit. But there's so many problems. If you think about it this way, we've all seen Jurassic Park. If the T-Rex in Jurassic Park was ugly ass, dumbass claymation, how would you ever really feel that much actual fear or suspense for the character? That's the same thing. It's the same thing. You've completely diminished the stakes and the pathos of the entire series when you make your main baddie a joke.
Yeah.
Feel me?
It's like
I hate it.
Like having him being named Vicious and then like seeing his personality on films, like why the fuck are you calling him Vicious? Call him
you're not
Precious.
vicious at all. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Vicious, but it's like he was like a gigolo. Like you sound like you know those guys in the episodes in the anime that were like the men prostitutes or whatever. With that name and the way they had him in that show, he looked like he could be one of those guys. Like I was not intimidated by this man in the least.
You said the male prostitutes in which show?
In Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, the anime series. Planet. Yes. Actually, that's right. He actually would have been better cast as something else. Yes, I agree. I agree. Yes. Here's the thing. So our boy Mike said this. There's some characters in Super Crooks. Super Crooks is good, by the way, but there are some characters in Super Crooks where Vicious would have been perfect for them. That's how far off he is too. He's a cartoon character as opposed to Vicious. Speaking of which, another thing I hated was the fact that his name, that Spike Spiegel's real name, I guess, is Fearless Otis East. You saw it. You can't pretend you didn't see it.
It's Fearless?
Oh, you didn't know this, Dev. Yeah. His real name, his Christian name is Fearless. So it's Vicious and Fearless.
Bro, he's Jewish. I don't believe that. That man looks so Jewish. His name. No, I'm sorry. I literally was talking about one of my new roommate. Now he's a Jewish guy. He looked at Spike Spiegel. He was like, dude, Spike Spiegel is the biggest, the most Jew name you could ever come up with. And this is coming from a Jewish guy. He's like, I thought Spike was Jew the whole time. He had the Jew fro, the name. I'm just like, bro, how is this? You call this man Fearless?
Right. No, actually, I mean, it'd be cool. I have no problem with him being Jewish, but the
Spike Spiegel,
Fearless. Spike Spiegel. I mean, Spike Spiegel is an odd name. Let's be honest. It is an odd name, but it's much better than fucking Fearless. Yeah. And they actually did a count. They actually have it set up on YouTube. Yes, the name Fearless literally is said more than Spike in the show.
It is.
It is. Yeah. Because the people that know him, like they're Julie and all of them, they say Fearless more often than they say Spike.
Right. So
Fearless and Vicious. That's crazy.
Can we talk about how badly casted that was too, though? Like, I'm a fan of John Cho. But like,
I'm with you.
First,
Mike isn't, but I am.
Spike Spiegel is a 27-year-old like Bounty
Caucasian
hunter.
male.
Yeah, and then you got
They grew up on the
Asian
streets.
dude. Like, well, another thing is Spike is also 6 feet. You know,
Right.
throwing that out there specifically.
Yeah, that's yeah.
John Cho is what, like 5'8",
5'8", 5'9".
Asian. He's 20 years older than Spike because he's about to turn 49. So that's worse than Tobey Maguire to Peter Parker.
Spider-Man,
like,
yeah.
At least he was in his 20s. That's less than 20 years.
I won't jump on that too much because, like, we just talked about how great Jet Black was, and they changed his race all over again. Granted, the voice actor was black. True. Then even with Tobey being Spider-Man, that's one of the people regard that as their favorite Spider-Man, and he was a little older. I think it's just the fact, like, they made him do stupid shit, and it compounded on top of that. Like, when they introduced Spike and he's wearing headphones coming down the elevator or whatever, and the stupidest shit ever, I swear to God, this is how I knew it was gonna be a terrible thing. When he flips the coin and Roundhouse kicks the coin into the dude's face, and they watch him do it the whole time with guns pointed at him. I'm like,
he roundhouse kicked a coin.
A coin.
He roundhouse
kicked that fast.
Look, it's in the air.
He roundhouse kicked a coin. Now,
and then
it's kind of Chuck Norris shit is this?
The thing about it is what's funny. So I'm curious about this. You brought up a good point. Oh, when you brought up how the race bending and everything with the John Cho playing Spike Spiegel.
Race bending part doesn't bother me, but like he's 49 playing somebody supposed to be 27.
I agree. That's a problem. I agree. But I wonder if because they were trying to think, hey, we need to find an Asian, I guess preferably an Asian American lead, so that we can get around the whole PC problems or the woke culture, all kind of bullshit that they're trying to say. Maybe they felt they had to go with an Asian actor, and it had to be someone that was a name brand or was somewhat well known enough in states to do it. I don't know if that was what their thinking was, as opposed to them casting a white, like you said, a white or Caucasian dude instead. I don't know because that played a different role.
I physically could not care less about the race of the person playing Spike. That doesn't matter.
Yes, but I think that was their optics. They were concerned about that instead.
Right.
But here's the thing. My choice, though, I think I may have told you before, Otis. My choice is the dude from the what's that show called? The Warrior. It's a Warrior. Yeah, it's called Warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Warrior. That dude, the lead. I would have wanted him to be Spike Spiegel because he actually has that kind of mannerism. You see the show. He has the mannerisms all the time. He pretty much is Spike Spiegel. But they obviously didn't go that way. But
isn't John Cho? Isn't it the same guy that played the main character of Squid Game?
No.
Or is it different?
Definitely not.
Definitely
Jesus
not.
Christ! Like so.
It's not. I'm way off. Okay, I'm just
pretty far off.
The show's canceled now, guys. I'm sorry. I missed that.
Have you seen Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
Yeah, that's
no.
Oh yeah, you're young. I think that may come out before he was born. My God,
that was like the super bad era, right?
No, I know.
No, it was before super bad. It was before super bad.
Like Pineapple Express, that like Jack Black.
It was before Pineapple Express, but it was a ways back though. You were a pup when it was out though. When it first came out, you were a pup.
Let me see when Harold and Kumar. Let me see when that.
You look up. I would say it's probably 2004 or 5. Now we did this. We did this last night talking about Matrix. Remember? So we are our years, but you were young. You were a youngin. John Cho did play
2004.
It was 2004. So, but John Cho also did play Sulu in the Star Trek movies, more recent films. That trilogy that came out, that was him there. John Cho is pretty prolific, but he's a great dude.
Yes. He was.
No, I don't. Here's the thing: Danny Iron Fist, that guy that played Danny Rand, whatever. Danny Rand, that was.
Yeah. I don't think it was the casting as much as it was just bad acting. Like he looked the part.
In which
could act for shit.
Yeah, I mean he actually fit the bill of being optics of being Iron Fist. Like
he did. He's just a bad actor.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a bad actor. John Cho is a great actor, but it was just miscast. It's miscast. Yeah.
Because like John Cho has none of the personality characteristics of Spike Spiegel.
It just doesn't.
It's just not him.
It's just not him.
None of them.
Yeah,
bro, his stunt doubles got work that movie, that whole series. They was doing everything. That 49-year-old man was not doing none of that shit.
No. I mean, he did get in shape. You saw that he had a couple of times where he had the abs and stuff, but it clearly still was not John Cho. It's
Brown House kicking coins and shit, doing all that
stupid
shit.
the scene where Jet is watching his daughter's recital and Spike is just getting jumped outside by all those, that was hilarious to me. I will say that. I got
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. They were trying to do the humor of Cowboy Bebop with this show. They were trying to do it. I think the problem is maybe directing. The director didn't understand how. Like I said, Edgar Wright. This would have been a much better show in the hands of Edgar Wright. Someone that understands how to do, like, for example, you guys have always seen Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim works bizarrely enough because even though it has a weird mashup, I mean, that should not work, but it works because it has Edgar Wright who knows what he's doing. It could be a similar vein with this.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the world. Versus the world, right?
Yeah,
versus the world. Yeah.
I've seen it, yeah.
Michael Cera? No,
Michael Cera, right?
Yeah, that was Michael Cera.
Yeah, Michael Cera was Scott.
I enjoyed that one. It was like weird because I saw it when I was young. Obviously, it was kind of like I saw it, but I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this?
It's definitely a what the fuck, but it's a what the fuck in the best possible way. It still works. Right. It understands what it is. This show oftentimes
I felt bad for him. I'm like, this man keeps getting turned down by all these women he's trying to date, and they all like he has to fight all over him and shit. I'm like, damn, this sound sucks.
That's not what happened at all.
Is that a different movie? Am I tripping?
No,
I think you've seen it, but you kind of misconstrued the plot a bit.
Because that's how I'm not
gonna. There were a bunch of different women that were like fighting and shit. I remember he had a bunch of different girlfriends, and for some reason they were all fought for whatever reason.
Quite not exactly. It's
like the exact opposite of that.
Not entirely true.
So he was trying to date one girl, and he had to battle all of her exes.
Her seven.
That's what it was.
Exes. Seven evil exes. Yeah. And it was cool because it had Captain America before he was Captain America, but it also had Mae Whitman, aka Katara, as an evil.
Also had Brie Larson.
Also had Captain Marvel. Right, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And she was Envy. She was honestly dope in that movie to me.
She was much. Yeah, we can. We'll be on that. We need to do an Edgar Wright podcast. But yeah, that was that movie was great. I actually like that movie a lot. That was great.
Let's mark that because that may be the only nice thing we ever say about Brie Larson on this channel ever. I swear to God.
Possibly.
I don't hate her as Captain Marvel.
I don't hate her. I don't hate her.
I
don't hate her as Captain Marvel. I don't like that movie.
Yeah. You said that. Yeah.
What were we talking about? I don't even know. Oh yeah, Cowboy Bebop live action is bullshit. The one thing that I do want to say real quick about Cowboy Bebop live action is that the CGI they tried to use in the show didn't work. It was so we're talking about immersion and doing that kind of stuff. There was no immersion. I never felt immersed in the show. You know what I mean? What's this? Charlie?
Oh, he said Ramona did the same thing to Scott in the comics. So like it was kind of like appreciate it, Craig. That's my boy.
Yeah. You paid Craig under the table to back you up. But what I was saying was like, did y'all feel immersed at all watching? For example, the way that I know. Like I
feel more immersion in a modern day Adam Sandler movie than I felt from.
I felt like I was immersed in the highest quality grade A garbage the world has to offer. I was just swimming through a trash can through a heap. It was great. I loved it. It stunk up my whole room.
I wouldn't call it an absolute dumpster fire. Like I would watch that before I watched the newest season of like Legends of Tomorrow.
Nope, I'd watch that shit over this. I'm sorry.
I'd probably watch that.
I watched that whole season twice before I watched this shit again.
I might watch that over this. I mean, but here's the thing: it's a toss up. It is a toss up. That's not a good thing.
At least I can have fun with that. This I can't have any fun.
Yeah, they probably have more fun with that. I think. I don't know. I haven't seen the show.
That's all they had. It was fun.
But comparison is apt because you said it's a CW show basically. That's what this felt like.
It is. This is 100% a CW show.
Yeah.
Like
no, you're giving it too much credit.
There's a CW actress in there. The girl that played Faye, she's from the CW.
But you're saying you're saying this is subpar to CW. Is that what you're saying, Charlie?
It's like a pitch CW show that they declined. It's like, hey, let's do this. So they're like, you know what? Nah, we're not gonna do that one. We'll do Stargirl. We won't.
Have you seen Batwoman? Have you seen Stargirl? Like,
Stargirl was fun. I'll fuck with not is it Luke Wilson? I think Luke Wilson. Well, yeah, I think that was the one. He was alright.
He's the dad. I agree though. I think at least when I look at the screen for Lois and Clark, or whatever the fuck that show is with Superman and Lois,
I haven't seen that yet.
That's a world. When I look at the screen in Cowboy Bebop, I'm like,
you sure? You look at Clark Kent and believe that's Clark Kent?
Well, no, not the actor. Not the actor.
Is it the same guy that played him in like? Because the guy that played Adam in that was the original Superman, like the movies that they did in like was it 2000?
Well, no,
he was that same guy.
One Superman. He was one of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's. I think his name was like Tyler Hoechlin or something.
It's
like
Tyler,
that.
Yeah, Tyler something.
Yeah,
he played it in Supergirl first.
He was in fucking Teen Wolf first.
He was in Teen Wolf.
Then he came to this.
Yeah.
Nah, he don't fit the bill.
I don't know. We're so far. I mean, here's the thing. We're off the rails, but who cares? Because this show is off the rails. The Cowboy Bebop live action was off the rails from the start.
This
is so bad that we would rather talk about CW shows.
Clearly, that's wow. That's the actual tagline. This was so bad. We'd rather talk about CW shows. Sorry.
We're talking about not even just CW. We're talking about the good parts of CW shows. That's the bad thing. We're the top positive about CW shows.
That's oxymoron. The good part of CW shows. The thing about I want to say real quick though is that I don't know what happened because clearly Netflix has more money than you can imagine. Like think about this. I love Stranger Things season 1 to pieces. Stranger Things season 1, there was never a moment where I didn't feel like, oh, I'm actually in an 80s show. They captured the tone, atmosphere, and it felt tacit. This, it's like, what's going on, guys? You have the money, you have nothing but resources and time to do this the right way. And I told both y'all this. I'm going to get a little off the cuff here. I told both y'all how I went on a date with a person who was the literary agent for this show, and she made it clear that there was some writing on the wall beforehand. I'll leave it at that.
She was like, "Hey, this is gonna be trash, boy."
So that's how I was like, I don't know. And she was right. There is right on the wall.
She was 7 champagne glasses in, just like that shit trash.
She's right.
Hey, I think they paid me a lot of money to write this trash shit, bro.
Right. So she didn't write it, but
oh god.
This was not what the original person who pitched the show wanted, but I digress.
Anyway,
that
UK rap meme. We say, "Hey son, this is a violation. It's a violation." This is
clear. It is. I mean, you saw enough of it. It's not
big mom. This is a violation.
Yeah.
I can't ask you this, Charlie, since you didn't finish it. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you rating Cowboy Bebop live action?
Jet Black. So here's the thing. John Cho tried. He came to work. He got in shape. He had the abs. He actually tried. Like he didn't
phone in the role. So I give him.
He did not phone in. There was no phoning. Faye. I actually did like Faye Valentine. Jet Black. So I know you know that joke, that meme that this is blackmail, and then she says, "Of course you are black and male," and you hear babies cry and like angels die. Because of that joke alone, I gotta take some points off. I gotta say 3.
Hold on, I want you to ask me. Give me a second. I'm looking for something. Hold on, where's it at?
No, I can't ask you because you didn't even watch half the show.
More than half. You watched 2 episodes. That's a fifth of the show.
Where's it at? Oh my god! When I need memes on my phone, I can't find.
Oh, you're trying to find the meme for? Okay, but so Otis, what would you give it? Yeah. We can. If you would ask a question, you definitely still can. Craig, you're welcome. By the way, anyone watching, you've always been welcome to ask any and all questions. So please do. Yeah.
Damn it, where's that? I'm struggling right now.
Rating that's a numerical for this show. Is
not
what
necessarily.
I'm
if you're gonna go colors or shapes, I give it a purple triangle.
Can I get a fish?
A fish? That's pretty generous. I
got it.
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Now you can't use too many decimals. You have to at least see. I know. Yeah, I know what you're gonna do.
It's like, what is pi 3.14?
Nah.
3.14.
3.1459296. I want to say that's random. Yeah.
No, that's is that your score? Pie.
Yeah, I'll give it a pie. I give it a pie.
You give it a pie.
Hey,
Okay.
ask me. Ask me. I want you to ask me. Ask me.
All
All
right,
right.
Charlie.
Charlie Wilson, what you giving it?
This nigga is trash.
That's it. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. This shit
Worth
is
it.
so
Worth
bad.
it. Worth it. Worth it.
It's it's 10 garbage cans out of 10.
10 garbage cans. That's what we had to. So I do think we didn't have that
10 dumpster
as
fires
our
out of 10.
rating scale is the garbage cans. But having it as like maybe a negative verse. So if it has so for this, then I would say it's 7 garbage cans because it's garbage cans bad.
7 garbage cans. Okay,
So
I will give it 6 garbage cans. I think it's one less garbage can less than what E says.
Really?
Mhm.
That's the first time ever where you've been more generous to trash than I have.
Only because
I'm the optimist out of us.
It
and
like-
I hate this shit.
there's like
You can't even give me a real reason. You bullshit that man.
There
It's so hard.
from the series from start to finish,
Yes.
from episode 1 to 10.
Yes.
There is a beginning, there is a rising action, there's a climax, a falling action, and a resolution.
Yeah, but it gets splotchy as fuck in the middle, man. You're grasping at straws that have no ends. But fine, I'll give it to you. But the one time you're actually happy, I'll give it to you. I'll give you that. I'm glad. Moving on to Craig's question: how do you rate Jet from Avatar: The Last Airbender? He's one of my favorite characters, and I feel like he's super underrated. I actually like Jet.
We'll start
he's
with you, Ethan.
season
That's
1
like
and
your
season
favorite
2.
series.
Yeah, Jet's a cool character. I would like to see. He's one of those characters that would definitely be like a
I
chaotic
like to see
neutral.
a spinoff of Jet and his people. Like
His
I would watch
squad.
that. I would definitely
Yeah.
watch that.
And he has no. Let me ask you all this, and let me ask you this too, Craig. Do you think that Jet is in fact dead?
Isn't that what?
That Jet is dead in the Avatar series because we do not ever see him again. And I'm not going off of comics.
After
I'm
the
saying
caveman
purely
and
off.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm saying purely off the canon of the anime.
They may have answered that in like the comic after the fact. I'm pretty sure. I think there was a comic.
They might have, but we're going purely off of the anime. Do you think he's dead?
I don't think he's dead.
No, I don't think he's dead.
Okay.
With that character for me, he was cool. I was an Aang stan, so I was like Aang gotta get guitar. I was like championing that man. I live vicariously through him. I'm like, get the girl by all costs. Do not let this be a Naruto
And
situation.
the live action Netflix version, they aren't even in the same age range. Just throwing that out there.
So you know so you're saying you already know that in the live what's happening is what's coming
she's
down the
supposed to
pipe.
be 17, I believe, and he's supposed to be like 12.
What?
Here's the thing: they do know they end up together by the end of the series. It only takes place over a course of a year. So they're saying a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old get it on.
I mean, technically, he's 200 years older than her.
Technically.
Oh, they said he died. So is that official, Craig?
No. So in the comic, in the comic they do. So in the show, what happens is Toph pretty much says it doesn't confirm it, but Toph is basically there's a part where he's after he gets hit, and it seems very clear that he's like, "I'm fine, I'll be fine," and then Toph says he's lying, implying that he's going to die once that he won't make it through his injury.
I forgot about
but they don't completely confirm or deny one or the other, and you never see him again in the show or his people. There's a part where you do see some of his people; they come back later on, but Jet's not with them, and they don't mention Jet at all. So it was my theory that they were trying to say he's probably dead because otherwise Jet probably would have been with them during the day of the.
True.
The coolest thing didn't he had hook swords, right?
He had hook swords. I forget there's a name for those things. I forgot what they're called though.
Yeah, they're like it's like a not Chinese. I think is it Chinese or Chinese weapon? I believe.
Possibly.
They're like hook blades, and they have the hand like the sharpened handle on the end for defense. They're like really defensive weapons. Those are cool. Like that was that was one of those weapons you don't really see a lot in any kind of like anime or any kind of martial arts movie. Yeah, outside like maybe something like Crouching Tiger. I think they're in that maybe.
I think they are. I know there was a scene that Jackie Chan did
and cuts through them like in 4 seconds.
With the thin ass Green Destiny.
The Green Destiny.
It's like an inch wide, and it's like
it's so thick, but it's sharp. There's a scene you can look it up though where Jackie Chan is using those two things and he hooks them together and he's swinging them around by the hooks of the. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Yourself up with that if you're not paying attention.
No, the weapons I would never wear. I would never want to train with the hook swords, a lightsaber, or nunchucks because you're just designed to
So
F
I
yourself
watched-
or the Kusuragawa. How's it pronounced again, Otis? The Kusuragawa, the one that's a weapon. Has
the
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not gonna butcher it. I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
the sickle and the chain with the weight.
yeah.
Yeah.
That we
The,
both use
the
in
ball and
Neo
chain,
2 a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
The
I
dual
was-
comma, the comma. It's like a comma, right?
It's
kind
Kisura,
of. Kind of.
Kisuragawa.
It's like imagine like the commas off of Warframe, but it's just
Yeah.
one of them, and it's a chain.
With the
And then on
ball
the
in
other
it.
side of the chain is weight.
Yeah, it's any weapons where there's a chain, like the same thing as if you're using Go-Go in Kill Bill, she has a mace weapon on a chain. Anytime you're using a chain in a weapon, you have to really know what you're doing, or you will get effed up bad. So
there's a video I kind of want to do a reaction for.
Thorfinn from Vinland
Saga.
He takes that L.
Nah,
He's getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, Thorfinn will fuck him up bad. There's no reality in which Thorfinn. Here's the thing: Thorfinn took on what's that dude? The big huge tank.
Thorkel?
Thorkel. Yeah.
I thought I watched
And
that.
Thorfinn's
That's
actually
bad.
younger than Jet. There's no reality in which Thorfinn don't lose to hardly anybody. I don't think so, except for Askell, whatever. So yeah.
I still gotta watch that.
Yeah, Vinland Saga is dope.
There's a video I kind of want to do a reaction for the channel that I saw. It was like a YouTube video in which this weapon specialist, where she like specializes in like using different martial arts weapons or whatever, and she was watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and kind of showing like practically and realistically how those weapons will work and how like this isn't a thing or how that may be a thing.
Right.
And a big thing which she talked about was using like the hook swords, is like training them together and like use them as like defense. She was like, I won't spoil it, but
Defense.
we'll talk about that. That's something I kind of
that's an aggressive, weird defense. It works for Jackie Chan because he's basically a comedian and he's doing them. But yeah, it's very
That's
impractical.
the thing I want to start doing. I want to start reacting to different YouTube videos together.
But I love this is one thing we're open to doing this. If y'all want to have it where we'll save time at the end of the show for us to have questions. If you want to ask questions during the show, feel free to do that. Unless you're Mike, big, tall, and handsome, and have horrible opinions on live action shows, do not ask questions about dumb stuff. Anybody else, you're welcome to ask questions. We got to do this real quick. Where is it at?
Hey, we're like an hour. Shit.
This week's either or is very simple. For those who don't know, either or is where I ask a hypothetical to my co-host or a guest about something pertaining to the episode that things we discussed. So, talking about Samurai Champloo. Either
that bag they'll give you.
I think it's time we blow this.
Developing skills, doing a side quest.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Side quest.
Kind of saying
or
that controlling. No, I do, but like trying to get that. I was working on the logo today.
Or
Lopez.
I will make this whole planet suffer. This can't be
Yeah, they actually let him get even like what?
all right.
Wait. Before we get to the Igor, yes, like this was literally right before we started this show because I heard myself talking. It's like, wait a second.
I was like, how's all this talking to this shit? I was like, wait, what?
Yes. So did you? But you saw what they were. It's the intros.
Right.
It's the intros for Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and the Toonami intro for Dragon Ball Z.
Sure.
Which one? And show your work.
Oh, this was one thing is the best intro.
Yeah.
Shampoo. Like no
Shampoo.
Like
Show your work.
It's a bop. No,
It is a bop.
like,
Yeah.
Tank is a very, very close second to me because I love it. But Shampoo, like that's something I can like legit like put on a playlist, like a regular playlist, and just listen to it. I can't necessarily do that for the DBZ intro. And I mean, if I build a jazz playlist, I can do that for Tank. But just with the type of music that I listen to typically, Nujabees. Nujab.
Yeah.
Nujab.
It's NUJABE. Yeah. Nujabes, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have that album. I actually do have the Samurai Champloo album.
No, nobody remembers Shampoo. And what are you talking about, Mike?
Who is that? Why is Mike still here? Go off and be handsome someplace else.
The Shampoo intro. You don't remember that Shampoo intro?
What she say?
Well, that's Best Butterworth. She don't know that shit. She don't be watching shit.
Is that what she said? No, is that what she just said?
Shampoo intro. You lying. You really don't remember?
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. No, everyone remembers Samurai Champloo. The thing is, the Samurai Champloo, the music's a slapper, but also the imagery is so dope too. It's like, I mean, it's old school, it's like feudal era Japan with hip hop, like it works, it blends.
So we're not counting Rock the Dragon for the Dragon Ball Z intro?
We definitely could.
I'll
take the Toonami intro over the Rock the Dragon one personally.
It's different eras of like hip hop with like the Rock the Dragon isn't hip hop at all basically, but they're both cool. So Mike, you're saying the DBZ Toonami intro, right, Mike? I'm guessing you're saying that, but yeah, I like all of them. I definitely do, but I agree with what you're saying. Oh, I could rock the Samurai Champloo beat. I have the album. I listen to it all the time. I do love the DBZ music, but I see what you're coming from. Charlie, what are you saying as far as yours?
So for me, I'm gonna rock with Cowboy Bebop. I literally have all three of these. Like literally every Dragon Ball opening and all these other songs I have in a playlist. I have an anime playlist full of openings and like songs and themes. And I listen to all these on not on a daily basis, but whenever I'm in the mood to go through the playlist, I listen to all those at some point. But for me, Tank, I don't have the anime version of Tank. I have an orchestra version of it, where a literal like orchestra and band is playing the actual song, and that tune is dope. Like hearing actual drums. I mean, you hear it in the opening too, but like it's more. I like the more raw version of that, where you have the instruments playing that more raw, and not like treated in a studio.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've heard that too. The orchestra, the 10-piece orchestra is a much better version of that song. Actually, yeah, I heard that too.
When it comes to hip hop, if I'm not really hearing like a rapper then very rarely do I just listen to like a rap or a hip hop beat instrumental just by itself.
I'll want lyrics on it.
I mean, there are lyrics on it on the new Jubbies.
The full, it's like almost 3 minutes. It's a full song. Even in the opening in the anime, there's lyrics.
Yeah. I can't remember anything that nigga was saying in that. I'm sorry, I can't.
You're getting it again. The show is there's no then and now anymore. It's just then. We're all old.
I've seen some Samurai Champloo. I've been like, I think it put me on to it like a couple of months ago, and I watched the whole thing in like a week.
Yeah, they do have lyrics in it. They have lyrics in it. Yeah, I mean the full version of that track is like 3.5 minutes. It's a much longer version, but
that shit was forgettable to me. I guess. Can you remember any bar from that? Can you remember any bar from that opening thing? One bar.
I mean, the actual lyrics. You mean? Nah, I'm bad at lyrics. Well, so here's the thing. We got to do another round real quick. I know we got to go. But thinking about the Boondocks, the opening for the Boondocks. That's a shorter. I know there's different versions, but would you take the Boondocks, Samurai Champloo, or Cowboy Bebop?
Boondocks. I say that with my whole chest whenever I hear it.
Yeah, I know that inside and out. I could. Yeah.
Okay, so I agree. I do think the actual song in Boondocks is the best, but I love the beat and the intro, the actual stuff that's happening.
The music for Champloo is just amazing. Like that fusion of like hip hop sound with the traditional Japanese, like, and then there's some of the jazzy elements that they add into there too, like with the scratching. Like that beat is fire. Like that's one of the best beats I've ever heard.
It's one of the most flawless ones. I agree. I completely agree. I completely agree. I think I love when anime does mix with hip hop well. It's because it's a almost seamless, natural thing. Bizarrely enough, it just works really well. There's a part. I know Dev hasn't seen it yet. Mike or Craig, have you all seen Arcane on Netflix? I know I keep talking about Otis. I'm sorry, but I love it to pieces. But in Arcane, there's a part where old boy, the character named Echo, fights against another character named Jinx. I won't get into spoilers, but it is fire, and it's the music they use there, and it's if y'all get a chance to watch that, that's up there too. And then here's Mike. So Mike had So I would you put it up there. I would also say the intro. Now I know it's Imagine Dragons. It's very different, but I like the intro for Arcane as well.
East Atlanta Playboy.
they cut Jizz verse out of the intro.
I
the
was
other day.
pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
man,
even.
they
Yeah,
cut
he's
his
at
verse
all.
out.
He's not in there at all in that.
I'm like, that's
no.
some bullshit. Cut out the
Yeah.
East Atlanta Playboy like that.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so Craig
so
liked it too. Then okay.
We very much so need to get on this arcane.
We're
review.
we're
Yeah.
trying to wait for Charlie to watch it.
Yeah,
I gotta
But we're
finish
gonna.
it. I really want to
Okay.
wait till I get to my dorm room to finish it on my new TV. but I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
no,
to
I
do it-
feel you.
have to do it before
I
then.
would do the same thing. I watched the episode. The episode, you know, the episode where I won't say these no spoilers, but there's an episode called Oil and Water that has an amazing
Mhm.
climax. It's the penultimate episode where two characters are back to back fighting, and that episode I watched it on my rich ass cousin's house on her gigantic screen HDF TV, and I cried from so much joy watching that
Yeah.
fight scene. So
But yeah,
Jinx was dope to me. I liked her.
I
But I
loved her.
mean, like, I would never have her as a teammate ever.
You
but
can't have that. What are you talking about? What do you see what she
But-
does to her? Nah, you see what she does to her
Yeah.
team. Again, we
Right.
cannot. This can't
Yeah.
happen right now, Charlie. We
Yeah.
I
cannot
will
do this.
say before we leave though, on that same tip, watching great stuff on big TVs. One thing I really enjoyed, all the videos on our YouTube channel, guys. For our church announcements, please go by. You guys, we have our YouTube channel up now. You can
Yeah.
find us under the Then and Now podcast on YouTube.
Yes.
We have a bunch of new content we put up on there for walkthroughs,
Yes.
interviews from great guests such as Graham Nolan, the creator of Bane, and brand new video essay that your boy just created over Cowboy Bebop. So if you haven't
Yes.
seen it, you want
The anime. Every
anime.
essay on that Cowboy anime, not the live action bullshit.
right? So if you watch it on the big TV, it looks great. It sounds great. I can attest to it myself. I've seen it on the 75-inch. It was great. I loved
It's
it.
still it's fantastic.
Yeah, guys. So go check that out.
And coming up again, and very very soon we have new content coming from our new co-host, Danielle Moniz.
Oh
You will
yeah.
not want to miss it. It is fire to say the least.
I'm assuming that was supposed to be Great Thief, Craig, and it bored me.
Right.
I like that we're going to end on that. We're going to end on a note where we're again Craig and Otis beefing. Don't forget to watch the official prize fight between Craig and Otis East coming up about who knows what, everything. And we're going to have Mike come on here. Mike versus his handsomeness, just to see which is better.
Damn gingers, man. The freckles. I hate them.
All right.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. We kind of rambled on for too long. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next week, next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys for tuning in.